So share some common roadblocks that I experience, and people, maybe you can relate to some of these. Number one is lacking clarity in what your objective is in writing the book. So you want to write a book, but maybe you don't understand like why you want to do it, or you don't have a really clear idea of what your overall goal or purpose is in writing. And so when you don't have that goal in mind, it's way easier, and I experience this myself, it's way easier to fall off because you're not constantly keeping the end in mind. Number two, I would just say, which we're talking about today, is insecurities. Is it good enough? Will people read it? Those are some things that I know I battle with. And I just want to encourage you all. If God's called you to it, he's going to see you through it. If he's calling you to it, he's going to equip you for it. It doesn't matter if you don't think you're the best writer. You don't have to be the best writer. All you have to do is be obedient. That's the reason why you have editors, people that proofread, people that copy edit, all these different things, because what God's asking you to do is just to put it out there. Once you get it out there, then it's up to him to navigate it and deliver it to certain people and so forth. But it's just your job to push through, and you find that security in the Lord. You don't find that within yourself. You find it in the Lord, and knowing and being fully convinced, like, God's called me to do this, is really important. And the next thing is lack of guidance or support in the process. Trying to write a book alone is just really, really, really hard. I know for me, there are some things that I came up against later on in the process, and I had some friends who've written books before, and just going to them, I realized that everything I was experiencing was normal. And once I realized it was normal, I actually felt more equipped to keep going, because I was like, man, I'm not the only one that faces these things. And so kind of having some sort of community, even if they're not writers, maybe they're not going to, maybe just be your best friend or someone at your church or a spiritual figure in your life, just for them to be supportive, someone that will pray with you, someone that will walk you with you while you're writing the book. It's just super important. Doubt and fear. So I think a lot of us can relate to that. It's easy when things get hard, to doubt. It's easy when things get hard to even allow for fear to resonate in our hearts and our minds. And again, I'm just going to reiterate, like, if God is calling you to it, then he's going to see you through it. Doubt is a normal part of the process, because you're thinking so much while you're writing. But just know that God's not giving you a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. And so those moments when you are fearful and you're insecure or you're doubting if God called you to do it, that's when you need to lean into your community. That's when you need to remember what the overall goal of the book was from the beginning, so that way it can help you get over that roadblock. So here's something that I learned, not being disciplined in writing regularly. So even if you're not writing a book and at the moment per se, if you're trying to be a writer, it's a really good practice to just write regularly, whether that's journaling, whether that's just even rewriting like Bible stories that you read as you're reading the scriptures or whatever, or just writing about things that are going on in your neighborhood just for yourself. It's just really important that you're disciplined in writing regularly, because it helps you when you transition into writing a book. It helps you stay on task, because you already have built a momentum and a rhythm of writing. And if you are already writing your book, and even just, I'll talk about this more in the next slide though, setting aside a certain amount of time every single day. Like, I'm going to commit to writing for 15 minutes a day, and just sticking with that, being disciplined in that, will really help you overcome some of those roadblocks. And last but not least, y'all, spiritual warfare is real. And especially when you're writing a book. I remember a really good friend of mine, she's written a couple books now. And she told me, she was like, if you're getting attacked, that means you're headed in the right direction. And whatever you're writing, whatever you're doing has going to have that much impact in the kingdom of God that the enemy is trying to stop you. So it's actually a good sign when the enemy is trying to attack you, because it means that you're a threat. You're a threat to his kingdom. You're a threat to his plan for humanity. And so it's so important that you fast. It's so important that you pray. It's so important that you just keep your eyes on the Lord during that time. And even ask others around you, hey, pray for me as I'm writing this book, because the enemy, he loves to throw distractions our way. I can just tell from my own experience when I was writing my book, stuff was happening at work. There was happening in my family. Like, even when I was trying to edit the book, my editor she got sick, and then I got in a car accident. Like, it was just all this stuff happening. She had a crisis at her job. Like, we were both going through it at the same time when I was trying to get my book out. And I had to kind of realize, like, it's the enemy trying to literally stop me from doing what God's called me to do. And so I started praying against his attacks, and they didn't necessarily subside, but because I knew where the attack was coming from and I knew what was happening, I was able to just keep praying, keep pressing and enduring through that time, instead of just giving into defeat and feeling like, well, I'm just not going to do it because it's too hard, and that's not an option for us. We definitely cannot quit. So just really short, some tips to walk in your calling as a writer. Number one.
Hey, you need accountability to get your book started? Are you tired of fear, doubt, and shame trying to hold you back? Join the Heal the Writer group as we go on a 12-week journey to become the writer that God has called you to be. If this is you, hit the link in the bio.